Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Spiritory, and today is Wednesday. Hi YouTube, welcome to Pagan Perspective. This is Megan, aka Spiritory, and today we are talking about suffering. What a great topic. Kind of brings you down a little bit, but I think it's important for a lot of people, and it's definitely something that we haven't talked about before. So that's really great because I think sometimes we tend to repeat different parts of topics, and this way, we're getting something new that maybe can help some people. So the question is from Angelo. I'm not going to pronounce the last name because I think I'm going to butcher it. But in quotations, Angelo writes, "the unorthodox pagan." So Angela writes, "I have a topic for discussion. How does your spiritual path help you cope with the sufferings of life?" So, well, I think that for me, my faith is my foundation. It's what I rely on when things get really bad, and to give me a sense of belonging and purpose in a world that doesn't always offer that. I think that one thing that can be very hard when dealing with any type of suffering, any type of trauma or grief, is sometimes there are questions that there just are no answers to, and we don't always have a way to explain them. And really, that's where faith comes in. That's where our belief system is what we look to, and it's what we lean on, and it's what can hold us together through those times where we think we'll just fall apart. And I think that goes for any faith, really. I think that having something that answers those hard questions for us, something that brings comfort in dark times, that's what helps ease suffering. Now, when it comes to specific ways that my path might do that, besides just having overall faith, I think that one thing that can be very helpful, at least in my path, is having a specific way to mourn and a specific way to deal with suffering. And in particular, for me, when it comes to grief and losing a loved one, Samhain celebrations tend to be the most important. That's a way for you to say goodbye and to let go but never forget. That's really important. I think that what's hard is that I have so many coping skills throughout my job and what I do on a daily basis that oftentimes those will come into play before my faith will. And in the past, before I had those skills, I obviously relied on my faith more. But now that I have them, I rarely need to kind of look to my faith, because the skills that I have, the coping skills I have being a therapist, they kind of supersede. They jump in ahead of it, and then I really don't need anything after that. So for me, really where faith steps in is when losing a loved one or any type of loss, real loss. I think that that's a time when I look to faith. I think the other time in which I've found that in the past it's really helped me cope and deal with things is when I have felt that my life maybe isn't going in the direction that I want it to. So then I look to my faith for the next steps, the answers, the understanding that we all have a responsibility to make our life what we want it to be, and at the same time there are always opportunities and always chances. The universe is always trying to give us a nudge in the right direction if we're just willing to look for it. So I would say that one of the things that I think any path that you have that can really offer to you is help with any type of loss and grief. And if you rely on that faith to answer those big questions. And what's wonderful about the pagan paths is they are so open and welcoming, and it doesn't matter if the person followed your path or didn't follow your path, and no hell, and it's a very positive message, and it can help during that time. And grief is a long process, and they talk about the stages of grief, but you don't just start at the first stage and then work your way all the way down through them. It's a back and forth, and anger and bargaining, and it's not just some linear equation. There's a lot of roundabout ways, and everybody gets there a little bit differently. And just remember that it's okay. However you need to grieve, whatever pattern or loop-de-loop you need to do at those stages, that's okay. It's your path. And if you can look to your religious path to be able to give you some comfort in that time, that's what it's there for. That's one of the wonderful things about having faith. So I think that's all I really have to say about it. If anyone has any questions, definitely leave them in the down bar below, and I will try to answer specific questions, but hopefully this kind of touches on it a little bit. I think that we all need to find ways to support each other as well through these times. If you see somebody at a pagan event who might be suffering, it's okay to reach out, and it's okay to ask, hey, you doing okay today? Even just that, even if the person says, yep, I'm fine, and they're really not, just knowing that someone is thinking of them and noticing, that could mean a huge, huge deal to them. So hopefully this is the lowest moment, I guess, of the week for you all. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. It is still summer here, thank goodness. Oh my goodness, I do not want it to end. But hopefully I'll get some last bits of summer out of it in the next couple weeks. So I will see you guys next week, and as always, blessed be.